Skinny Jeans with Brittany Watkins, Section 3, Self-Sabotage, Break the Chains.
So I would love to hear anybody's feedback or just kind of hear about what happened over the last week. If anybody wants to share.
This is Marilyn. I'm thrilled. I wrote you that note, Brittany, a couple days ago, and yeah, it's like waving a magic wand. My wine consumption is exactly where I wanted it to be. And then the other thing was, one of the things that I struggle with is, I eat pretty well and I exercise a lot. And if you look at how many calories I eat and I'm doing all the right stuff, but I still don't lose any weight. And honest, I have about 15 pounds to lose. So it's not like, I have a ton, but, as I was tapping through the notes last week, I couldn't make the call, but I did go through the note. I listened to the recording, and just like really over the weekend, I lost 3 pounds. And I thought, well, maybe something like, maybe my leg fell off and I didn't notice. But it's like, it's stuck. So, I've been weighing myself every morning, and this, I hit this new low, and I haven't been this low in a couple of years. So I'm not doing anything differently than this tapping stuff, and I'm not doing it every day. I'm just doing it really with a class. So that's my little update. I'm thrilled.
Great. Thank you so much, Marilyn. And it's so great to hear that. Isn't it amazing what happens when we start doing the underlying work? It's like the weight just kind of falls off and we don't really have to think about it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's great. Thank you so much for sharing, and I am thrilled with your testimonial, and I'm glad that we got that on recording so that everybody else can hear it too. Anybody else want to share some updates? Maybe, what happened last week or the week before, anything that you're struggling with that you want some extra help with?
This is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
This week was a bigger struggle for me in that I have a very persistent resistance to stopping, assessing, stopping when I'm full. There's something that's really pushing back. That being said, the tapping from the cravings from week 1 are still, the effects are still holding strong, and I had very unusual, just to put it in context, I used to go to movies because there was snack food there. I didn't really care what the movie was, and have the big tub of popcorn and all the rest of it. And we went on the weekend and to, ironically, the Hunger Games. And just for the sake of doing it, I said, okay, I didn't really want it, but I thought, we'll get something. And my husband got me some treats. I said, I think something chocolatey. I didn't have one kernel of his popcorn. It didn't appeal to me at all. And I actually wasn't sure what he had got me as a treat. I was eating them, but I couldn't really taste them, and it was too dark to make out the package. And I was like, well, I'm not sure what I'm eating, so why eat it? So I stopped, and this has never happened in the history of my life. And so there's still an open pack of what turns out to be peanut butter M&Ms somewhere, and he gave me a sip of his root beer, and it just tasted like wet bubbles. And it didn't do anything for me, so I stopped that as well. So that was absolutely effortless, and remains that way. I still have my half a bag of Doritos lurking around somewhere.
Great, Michelle. And if I remember correctly, we worked on cravings for Dorito chips. Did you also work on other foods individually, or are you saying that the work that we did on the Doritos spilled over to other snacking foods?
It spilled over, and I didn't confess this on the first call because I was just like, oh, how tragic. But waiting for the call, I was just jonesing for something, so I went and got the only chocolate I could find, which were some tragic little chocolate chips.
Okay.
And they were bloomed, and they're old and everything. But the whole time I was doing the Doritos craving, the bowl of chocolate chips was sitting right beside them.
Interesting. Yes, the generalization effect. Mm-hmm. That happens. And, especially when we're in a big group, there's only a couple of us on the call each time, but each class, we've got about 60 people. I've got about 30 in my noon class and 30 in my 6 p.m. class. And all of us we've sort of made an agreement to work on this together. And so if you know anything about tapping, using the body's energy system, we're all connected in this group together energetically. And so people who are working on their stuff, it tends to help the rest of the people in the group. If any of you have ever been to like tapping circles, that is an experience that people have, which is that everyone gets together in a circle and will be tapping on one person's thing individually, but everybody else will sort of have an idea of what they want to work on, and just through tapping on one person's problem or issue, theirs goes away as well. So it's sort of like that with this class as well, in that we've got so many people that are focused and working on this weight stuff together that I've had a lot of great feedback, and a lot of people are seeing just amazing results that they weren't able to get, even though they were working with tapping and weight loss individually. So I think the group component really adds to the effects of this work. And so I'm glad to hear that everybody's having great results and success.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to add to Michelle too is, when I pour a glass of wine, certainly the craving for it isn't half what it used. It's not actually. I don't really crave it as much, but I still enjoy it. But once I hit a certain point, which is a very small glass, like the next sip just tastes odd, like metallic-y, or it just tastes odd. I feel like my body is sort of coming around and saying, all right, this is enough. You don't need any more. And which is really helpful because you can be so mindless about this kind of stuff. So I just wanted to throw that in, to follow up Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what the Naturally Slim Eating Plan is all about. It is allowing yourself to have the things that you want and be really tuned into that, to eating that food in the way that it tastes, because your body will tell you when it's had enough. Right. And it's usually very little. So, and you'll actually start to pick up that the food will start tasting differently if you're tuned into it. When we're constantly dieting, or when we crave something for emotional reasons, we tune all of those senses out. And so we'll just eat and eat and eat and eat compulsively and super, super fast. And we won't even be tasting while we're eating. We're just eating for the sake of eating. Mm-hmm. And so what this does is it allows you to have it, but also be tuned into your internal cues that really know exactly what's perfect for you. There's all these diet plans out there, and, weight loss, strategies and all of that. And sure, there's tons of great information out there, but everybody's different. And what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for the other. So that's what you guys are doing here, is you're working on becoming in touch with your internal cues and really learning how to trust yourself again. I was working with a client this morning, and this is the structure of a lot of my clients, which is the chronic dieter. And what happens is you stop trusting what your body's internal wisdom. When you follow this, I shouldn't, I'm bad if I eat that, I'm good if I do this, you've completely abandoned your body and your true nature and your true self. So that's what this work is it's just getting you back in touch with that, and really helping you form a relationship with that part of yourself again. Because, just like children, if we tell a child something and we don't follow through on it, the child will grow up, the child will stop trusting what you say. And that's essentially what we're doing to our bodies when we're dieting, when we're depriving ourselves all the time, or when we're overeating and hurting our bodies, is that we're not trusting, we're not building a solid foundation with ourselves. And so, we tend to abandon, and we tend to sabotage and overeat, or, do the chronic diet. And, everything gets off balance. And that's when we add the extra weight. And that's when, people like you, Marilyn, who say, I eat all the time, and I eat really healthy, and I exercise. I just don't know why I can't lose that extra 15 pounds, because there's a part of you that you haven't been listening to, that you've abandoned. And so that's what this work is doing, is just reprogramming that part of you, so that you really do learn how to listen to your body's cues. And if a half a glass of wine is what you need and all that you need, it's great that you're able to listen to that part of yourself and respect that part of yourself. And that brings us into what this week is all about, which is sabotage. And I heard, Michelle, you talk about some resistance, and that's usually why I leave sabotage to week 3, because that's usually when people, if they have some resistance to this, their stuff will come up. So week 3 of Skinny Jeans is all about self-sabotage and really figuring out what the positive intention is of the part that is sabotaging our behavior. Because, there's really every intention, every action under every action, there is a positive intention. And I know that might sound confusing to some people because you think, well, how is overeating, a positive intention? Well, as I gave to you in the worksheet, there are certain compelling reasons that a part of you wants to hold on to this extra weight. And hopefully some of you are able to go through the worksheet and answer the questions. So the first question is, what does this extra weight do for you? Does anybody want to share? Does anybody feel brave and want to share what some of their answers were?
Sure, I don't mind. You all know about my blue chocolate chips and
I knew
burritos.
I knew we were going to get you. So were you able to go through the exercises, Michelle?
I was, and
okay.
I've been on this road many times, so it wasn't that difficult, I don't think, to come up with what I think are the responses. So it was what the benefits are to keep the weight on. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, what does this extra weight do for you?
Right.
Yeah. And some examples were it hides me from unwanted attention.
Yeah, that one really rings true.
Okay. It gives me an excuse for not applying for the job I really want. People use the extra weight to sort of hold themselves back from what they really want to achieve. A third example is no one can reject me if I already reject myself. This is very, very common. Another one is I can blame it for not living up to my full potential. Just another way of saying, another way of using that as an excuse to not go after what you really want. Because, if you go after what you really want and then you find out that you're not very good at it, or it wasn't really what you thought it was, there could be this sense of loss or this sense of rejection. And that can be really scary for people. So they'll sort of use the extra weight to hold them back from things they're unsure about. So what does this extra weight do for you, Michelle?
Well, all of those resonate very strongly with me.
Okay.
I think it's that, it's my immediate and most visible preoccupation. And I'm always one to put, first I have to do A through to Q before I can get to R. So keeping weight loss high on the list of things to do lets me procrastinate on other more scary things.
I see. Right. If I'm obsessing about my weight, then I don't have to pay attention to all these other things that are even scarier that I don't really want to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and right. The physically of that whole afraid of not putting myself out there, and it literally, keeps me hidden under a layer of fat and stuff like that.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Michelle. Anybody else want to share what they came up with for what this extra weight does for them?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Okay.
How I answered the question was I said it keeps me locked into a middle zone of not quite failing, but because I'm not that much overweight, but not clearly being in a state of success. It keeps me in a state of potential rather than in a state of delivery or a state of outcome, a state of achievement, like I'm saying, physically demonstrating, here's what I can do.
So what will happen if you achieve that? What's the downside of achieving?
Well, I think the downside then may be that people will expect other things from me, other achievements.
Okay, so they'll be expecting more, and then you'll just be giving more of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so is there a part of you that feels like you don't have any more to give, or you're already giving as much as you can?
Yeah, I think that's true. I hadn't really thought about that, but I do think that's true.
Okay. So there's this part of you that is kind of tapped out. You're kind of like, hey, this is the best that I can do. And if you want even more from me, I'm not sure that I'm actually able to do that.
Yeah, true. Right.
Okay. So now just notice that there's actually a positive intention behind this, which is you're really trying to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very common with people who struggle with their weight, which is they go and they go and they go and they go and they work super, super hard, and they're giving a lot of themselves away to lots of other people, and they're completely abandoning themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not doing the things that they need to do every single day to take care of them. They're putting other people first. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times weight can be a form of self-care. It makes us happy when, we have that chocolate chip cookies and they'll release serotonin in our brain and make us feel really good. Mm-hmm. It's going to give us extra energy if we're not sleeping enough. It's going to give us a little break from from the monotony of our day or from all the hard work that we're doing. If we don't have another way of allowing ourselves to feel pleasure or allowing ourselves to relax, very, very common to use food for that. And there, a couple of things can be, to hide yourself from your full potential. But another reason can be just to give yourself some relaxation and an escape from what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So that might be something to look at, and we're going to talk more about that too in the coming weeks, Tony. So.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else come up with some interesting reasons for this extra weight? Marilyn, how did you do with it?
I got a list of 8 or 9. If it came up, I wrote it down. Some of them I don't think really are the issues, but a couple that, and this is Michelle's too, but it gives me something to focus on. My kids are actually they're older than that even. So they're 25 and 28. So I've had like this empty nest thing for a number of years. And I think that I never kind of found something more constructive to do with that. So the weight thing, and I like reading about diets and people's success stories and stuff like that. So that was one thing for me. And then the other thing is I've had some big death losses in my life. And I think there's part of me that feels like, I've been so successful in so many areas and I have a great life and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of like my last hurrah. And I'm afraid, if I get to my ideal weight, something terrible is going to happen. So that's probably the biggest one. That one has the most emotional weight behind it.
Right. Yeah, it's a fear of the unknown. So people who struggle with their weight have been doing this for a really long time. And we're kind of used to keeping ourselves stuck. And so there's a part of us that's really actually scared of achieving success because we're so used to this pattern of struggling with our weight, beating ourselves up, starting these new diets, feeling guilty for binging. It's like this pattern that you've been in for so long that you don't know what it's going to be like when you break out of that. And fear of the unknown, something bad might happen. All of those are very, very common feelings and emotions and beliefs to have around weight. And, you can see that, being afraid of the unknown, or if there's a part of you that thinks that something bad might happen, especially if you're thinking things related to death or something like that, you can understand that's a really good reason to keep this extra weight. If you think something catastrophic is going to happen, if you lose this extra 15 pounds, that is a dang good reason to keep that extra weight.
Right.
So, so it's, this is a really, really important week to address these underlying reasons, because we all have them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the weight. If you had no compelling reason to keep this extra weight, then you wouldn't have it. The weight would just fall off. Mm-hmm. So sabotage and going in and addressing these good reasons and giving them room to speak their voice, to let them know that they've been heard, really, really frees us from being such a slave to them, because they're a lot more powerful than we are. Our unconscious mind is so much more powerful than our conscious mind. And until we start paying attention to the unconscious reasons that we have for keeping this extra weight, we're going to be stuck. We're always going to struggle. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see. The next sentence was, being thin means I can't. So, this is saying a similar thing that we were talking about earlier, but, there are things that we aren't able to do if we lose this weight. Some examples would be, I can never eat again. Some people have this limiting belief, and they may sound silly, but some unconscious belief thinks that, skinny people, they're always on a diet, or, if I'm skinny, I'm always going to have to, I'm never going to be able to eat any of the foods that I like, because skinny people don't eat what they don't eat things like burgers and fries, and I really like burgers and fries. There could be a lot of reasons that people would have this belief. Another example is, being thin means I can't hide from the attention of men. So people who are hiding, using extra weight as a barrier, for attention from the opposite sex. This is also a very, very common pattern that people with weight problems have. If I lose this extra weight, that means I'm going to have to start dating. I really don't want to date. Or if I lose this extra weight, it means that I'm going to have to, find a relationship, or the relationship with my husband might change, or my boyfriend, or whatever. Another example is, being thin means I can't be insecure. A lot of people will use that as sort of a platform or a coping mechanism to, again, block themselves from achieving things that they really want, or having things that really make them happy. So did anybody who came up with some interesting answers to this one?
This is Marilyn. I didn't really, this one was tough for me. I really tried to think about it. The only thing I came up with is, being thin means I can't stay thin, which makes no sense, but that was the one that I came up with.
Oh, okay. Well, so then there's a part of you that believes that even if you lose the weight, you're not going to be able to stay there.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's great. I mean, that's a limiting belief that right. is definitely worthy of addressing, because, if you think about, if you have that one running, there's always going to be a part of you that says, oh, well, if you lose this weight, you're never going to end up staying there anyway. So you might as well just,
right, why
relax bother? It's like, why bother? So that can absolutely be a sabotage, can cause a sabotaging behavior if you've got that belief running in the background. Absolutely. Great. Michelle, what did you come up with for this one?
I came up with, again, the top three absolutely resonate with me. Can't hide. I can't use it as an excuse. And I came up with the notion that thin people always put a lot of effort and time into dressing well and presenting well and dolling themselves up. And I hate that. I just have no patience for it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like thin means a longer list of things to do in some ways. And the never eat again was more of, I can never just eat whatever's lying around again. It's more like, oh, that means I'm going to have to start planning. I have this huge resistance. I just hate meal planning and shopping in an orderly fashion, and it's just when it's time to eat, I just kind of fling open the cupboards and what is there. And to me, being thin means there's a lot of effort behind it, and there's a lot of time consumed with all these meal plans and blah, blah, blah. So it seems like there's a lot of effort behind staying thin, similar to Marilyn, and also I'll just get fat again, so why bother?
Okay. So it sounds like there's two parts of you. I mean, there's a part of you that really thinks that there's going to be a lot of effort involved with this, and there's a lot of, planning, and you're going to have to get dressed up, and, it really doesn't want to go through all of that effort. It feels like, that's too much to take on. And yet there's still another part of you that really wants to overcome this weight struggle because you're in this class and, you're working on this consciously. Right? So it sounds like there's sort of two parts that want two different things.
Absolutely. I want life to be as easy as possible. That it seems everything I want to achieve has a long list of to-dos and effort behind it.
Okay, good. So when we do this tapping process, I want you to keep in mind to be tuned into that part of you that feels like there's going to be a lot to do, that feels all this overwhelm with, and that has all these beliefs and all these sort of preconceived notions about what thin means. Okay. Tony, what did you come up with for this one, or did you?
Well, this is kind of a continuation of the previous responses. Being thin means I can't blend into the middle ground. People will look at me and expect excellence, or like you said earlier, might expect more. And then I thought that, people might be thinking he has mastery over his body. Surely he has mastery over, and then there's a litany, his mind, his mouth, his feelings and emotions. And it kind of comes up like, I'm a machine then. And that I can't be human or fragile or insecure or messy or, all those kind of human traits.
Right. So if you're thin, that means that you're going to have to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
And if you're perfect with your body, you have to be perfect in every other sense of your life.
Yeah.
Okay. And that feels overwhelming because who can do that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. So as we do the tapping process, tune into that part of you that is really scared about all of the things that people are going to want from you and all of the expectations that people are going to have if you achieve this mastery over your body. Because, really that part is trying to take care of you. It knows that, it knows that it can't be perfect all the time. So this is its way of trying to protect you from really being too hard on yourself.
Okay.
Because, consciously we could talk about it. If you're perfect with your body, does that mean that you're going to be perfect with every other aspect of your life? No. I mean, probably not. But there's some part of you that believes that. So we'll do some tapping and we'll just check back in on that and see what you came up with.
Okay.
So another really great question to ask yourself when you're trying to figure out what your positive, what the payoff is for keeping this extra weight is what stops you from losing weight. Some examples of that might be, I don't want to deprive myself. Some people think that they'll have to, in order to lose weight, they'll lose some other part of their life, or they won't be able to eat the foods that they really love. Another one is it's going to be too hard. Oftentimes people look at it as this, it's a huge thing, especially the people who have more than just, 15 or 20 pounds to lose. It seems like too much, like it'll be too hard, and it becomes overwhelming to them. Another one is, everyone in my family is overweight, so of course I'm going to be overweight. And, we all know that that's just a belief, just like anything else. We are now we have scientifically proven that we can change our genetic structure in our bodies. And especially for people who know about things like tapping, we all know how that changes the genetics and the cells of our body at such a deep level that that's really a non-issue now. But a lot of people get stuck on that. We grow up with these templates, what we think are templates of perfection of our family, and so that's how we learn to be. And so that can definitely stop us from losing the weight. Another good reason, or another reason that can stop people from losing weight is that this feeling of unsafety, like something's not safe. They won't be safe anymore. If you think about what extra weight is, it's really just, it's like a protective coat. It's a protective layer. So many people, I see this a lot with people who have been sexually abused or any kind of sexual trauma in the past. They'll keep extra weight on to act as a barrier, because in their mind something bad will happen if they're at their ideal weight, or they don't want to be attractive to the opposite sex. So these are some really good examples of what can keep this extra weight on, and these are some really, really dang good reasons. So, the next exercise was to, and this is to address what is going to happen when I achieve my goals. So this next exercise is a little visualization, and it can bring up different things for different people. But what I want everybody to do now is get in touch with yourself. Get in touch with yourself right now in this moment. Take a big deep breath. And imagine yourself at your ideal weight. Notice what your body looks like. Notice what kind of clothes you're wearing. Notice what's going on in your life. What are you doing? Are you doing something different? Are you in some sort of different environment? How does it feel to be in this environment? How does it feel to have all of this? To have finally achieved success with your body and with your weight? Now, once you get a good sense of that, I want you to imagine all your friends and your family and the people that are closest to you around you in a big circle. Notice what comes up for you. Is that uncomfortable? If so, why? Notice if you're uncomfortable, notice who else is uncomfortable. Why are they uncomfortable? What does it mean to them that you've achieved success? So I just want to check in with everybody that's on the call, if you're willing to share, and just see what comes up for you guys when you do this process. Who wants to? Michelle, do you want to start?
Sure. It seems that losing the weight, and I am one of those people who could lose 50 pounds. At minimum needs to lose 30, so it does seem very overwhelming and exhausting and all that kind of stuff. Having said that, should I ever manage to do that, along with that means I have gone a new direction in my career. I can actually have confidence in talking to people I work with and be, front and center and speaking with confidence, because I can finally back up what I am saying with a confident, presentable me.
Okay, so you feel like you'll achieve a sense of confidence.
Yeah, and it would mean profound changes from what I'm doing now. Moving from where there's a lot of, this seems to be the flagship of noticeable change, and it ripples through my whole life.
Okay, so if you lose the weight, you're going to not only change your career, but you'll also move. Is that what I just heard you say?
Yep.
Okay. And why would you move?
Well, we're on the cusp of moving anyway, so my life, it's kind of representative of then once this change starts, I'll be more comfortable going forth with a change in my career direction, and that means I can't do it from where I am, and
okay,
one thing after another.
Right. So those are two really, really big things that can seem very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, changing your career and actually moving, you're stepping into, seems like a totally different phase of your life that's completely unknown.
Absolutely.
So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that you would stay sort of safe. I mean, this way, and this is what we were talking about earlier, we become so used to acting and reacting and being a certain way that stepping outside of that can be very scary. And especially if, we imagine ourselves at our ideal weight and everything in our life has changed. Some people will say, oh, well, if I lose the weight, then, I'll get out of my marriage of 25 years because I'm really not happy anyways. And it's like, oh, that's a big statement, So it makes a whole lot of sense why you're keeping this extra weight. So that's great. And when you looked around in the circle, was there anybody that was upset, or did you feel any sort of shame or any uncomfortable feelings being at this weight around?
Yeah, I very much did. I felt kind of exposed. Just our family dynamics. It wasn't necessarily, yay, Michelle. It was tinged. It was like, oh, Michelle, aren't you fabulous? But she's going to get fat again. And
okay.
And the fact that it was done in an atypical way. I'm very contrarian, and so to do it through something like skinny jeans, it's like, oh, it's going to fail, and she should have been like just the very conventional thinking of members of my family who were just expecting the downfall after the success.
Right.
And there was some of the nervousness on the part of my husband.
Okay.
Oh,
so your husband was nervous, or you were nervous?
He was nervous, and frankly, I was like, well, maybe there's somebody exciting out there,
Right.
So again, that whole inappropriate attraction to the opposite sex, incoming and possibly outgoing,
Yeah, these are ways that we keep ourselves safe. I mean, notice that, your family will be upset. Your husband will be insecure. You're going to change your job. You're going to move locations. I mean, these are really, really big things. And this is what people who carry around extra weight will do, is they keep themselves safe with this extra weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. That's really good. Marilyn, how was this exercise for you?
It was interesting. I did it this morning, and the people in my circle were, for the most part, supportive. My mother died 5 years ago, and she did her best. Let's just say she never would win a Mother of the Year award, and probably none of us would. But the one thing that hit me is that she was beaming and proud of me this morning, and that was extremely powerful. And so, I just kind of realized, we all want the best for our kids, whether we screw them up or not. And then when I just did the exercise this time, with my oldest daughter who emerged, who is desperately trying to lose 20 pounds for her wedding in November. And she's having a hard time. She's really not doing what she's supposed to be doing and all that kind of stuff. And she just looks so hurt to have me look, thin and fit and vibrant. It's just, jealous, I guess, and hurt.
Yeah.
And so that it was interesting to me how my mother popped out this morning and my daughter popped out. When I just did it now, and then I have some of this thing when my husband and I love to go out and have good dinners together. We love to cook fancy meals together and stuff. So there's a bit of unease on his part too, but he likes it when I'm feeling good about myself. So it's not
sure. Sure, and pay attention though to the unease. I mean, and there will always be two sides. There's always going to be, oh yeah, well, consciously I know that we're in a good relationship, and even if I'm 20 pounds thinner, I'm not going to leave him. But there's another unconscious part of you that is that, well, what if?
Yeah,
really
that's
true?
Definitely there, because he's certainly not making any movement, and he should lose 30, 40 pounds, and I don't mind, but I know he minds, and I think if I got there, I can't imagine it would. I mean, I have been losing weight, and it is making him a little less secure, I think.
Yeah. So that's another very, very good reason to keep this extra weight. If I lose this weight, I'm going to upset other people. I'm going to hurt other people. And they're the people that we love. Usually they're the people that are closest to us.
Right.
You know, our parents, our significant others, our children. So absolutely, that can be a very, very good reason.
And I'm always the nice girl too, you know, so that, I think it's even, more significant for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what we do. I mean, especially women will abandon ourselves to make everybody else feel better.
Right.
And, you know, especially people who struggle with their weight, this is very typical. This is a very typical pattern, which is, oh, you're more important than me. You know, I'm going to meet your needs because my needs aren't as important, or I'm boring in some way, or, oh, you know, I'm okay. You know, everybody else is more interesting than we are. Everybody else needs something. Everybody else needs something that we can give to them, but we forget to check in with ourselves and see what we can really give ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's great. Thank you for sharing, Marilyn. And it'll be interesting to see what comes up with this next round of tapping. Tony, how was that visualization for you? What did you notice?
Well, it was the heavier family members and friends that, you know, kind of came to the forefront, and there was an underlying message there that said, if I can do it, then I'm just kind of showing them up to be lazy or otherwise shortchanging themselves.
Right. Again, we don't want to hurt other people, so we'll sacrifice ourselves to make other people feel safe.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very, very common. Good. Well, thank you, everybody, for sharing. Let's do some tapping on this and see if we can't get these to go down. So for everybody that is listening on the call, or that will be listening to this later, right now we're going to do some tapping on just general resistance. Going through the worksheet and filling out the answers to this can give you phrases to use while you're tapping. So people who understand how to use the phrasing with tapping, just use your answers specifically when you're doing the tapping. And, you know, you can incorporate, of course, the phrasing that I use here. But since everybody has different reasons, I mean, you can see some general themes going on with the people that are on the call, but everybody will have different reasons and different things that come up for them. So using the words and the phrasing from the questionnaire will help specify it for your needs and your limitations, your specific limitations. Okay, good. So let's just have everybody that's on the call to take a deep breath and just start tapping through the points. When I do tapping with people, I don't have a particular structure that I use. I just allow people to sort of tap however they like to tap. So what I usually do is I just have people start with the karate chop and then tap through the points and think about what it is that I'm saying. Think about how their particular thoughts, feelings, and emotions that they just shared or discussed relate to what I'm saying. And so everybody just tune into this constellation of emotions, thoughts, beliefs, memories that are related to this idea of self-sabotage. And just take a moment as you tap through the points to really appreciate the part of you that's really had the best intentions, been trying to keep you safe. You've all shared some really, really good reasons for wanting to keep this extra weight. And so really the extra weight and the behavior that, you don't really like, which is cravings or overeating or not exercising enough, has actually been, in some levels, a positive behavior because it's really trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep everything the same, status quo, because it's not really sure what's going to happen once you achieve your goals. A lot of people might be hurt, maybe jealous. There might be some insecurity with people that we love. And we never want to make anybody feel bad. So just thank this part for wanting what's best and for trying to protect you, even though it's been going about it in the wrong way. Good. So now I'd like to, everybody take a big deep breath. And who would like to be my little echo? Do I have a volunteer? Michelle or Marilyn? Do either of you want to be my echo?
I could do
I'll
it.
do it.
Else wants to. Oh, Marilyn, go ahead. I've been hogging it.
Okay.
Marilyn, okay, go ahead.
Great. So just repeat after me, tapping through the points. Even though I have these really good reasons to keep this weight, part of me doesn't want to let it go. It's kept me safe for so long. There are so many unknowns. I'm not sure what will happen if I lose this weight. Someone might get mad. Someone might feel insecure. Life will change. Or something bad might even happen. It's just not safe to let go of this weight. Good. Even though there's another part of me that really wants me to be lean and healthy. It just doesn't feel safe. I've got really good reasons to keep this weight. But I still love and accept all of me. And I'm finding new ways to keep myself safe. Good. Everybody take a big deep breath. And I want you to imagine the questionnaire that you guys put together that you answered, if you filled it out, sort of imagine throwing all of those thoughts and beliefs and good reasons into a circle, or I call them a constellation. And each one of them has, different numbers or levels of truth to them. One might be a 6, one might be a 10, one might be a 4. So just imagine throwing all of these into a circle. And what we're doing with this round of tapping is we're intending to work on all of them together. Okay, and just like I was explaining earlier, the energy of the group and everybody working on these together as a group will help us lower our numbers for these positive beliefs quicker and more efficiently. So rather than having to go through each one and tap on them from an 8 to a 0, we can throw them all into a circle and intend to lower them quickly and efficiently. So I want everybody to just imagine doing that. So just take all the answers that you gave earlier and all the numbers that you gave them and throw them into an imaginary circle, and intend with this next round of tapping that you're going to lower the number, the overall number of all of the beliefs and thoughts that are in these circles. Good. And so, Marilyn, repeat after me. Take a big deep breath. Tapping through the points. I've got really good reasons to keep this weight. I don't want to let it go. I'm afraid of what will happen. I don't know what it will be like to reach my goal weight.
I don't know what it would be like to reach my goal weight.
So many things will change.
So many things would change.
Something bad might happen.
Something bad might happen.
Other people will be hurt.
Other people will be hurt.
Other people will be jealous.
Other people will be jealous.
I don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I'm just so used to it. It's all I know.
I'm just so used to it. It's all I know.
Keep tapping through the points. I'm afraid of what might happen.
I'm afraid of what might happen.
What if they treat me differently?
What if they treat me differently?
What if I make, fill in the blank here, uncomfortable?
What if I make Bruce uncomfortable?
It's not safe for Bruce if I lose this weight.
It's not safe for Bruce if I lose this weight.
Everything will change.
Everything will change.
I just know something bad will happen.
I just know something bad will happen.
It's really not safe to let go of this weight.
It's really not safe to let go of this weight.
I'm just going to keep my problems.
I'm just going to keep my problems.
I've got really good reasons to keep this weight.
I have really good reasons to keep this weight.
I don't want to let it go.
I don't want to let it go.
It doesn't feel safe.
It doesn't feel safe.
I don't know who I'll be.
I don't know who I'll be.
I'm not going to let the weight go.
I'm not going to let the weight go.
It's like an old friend.
It's like an old friend.
It's kept me safe for so long.
It's kept me safe for so long.
I have so many good reasons to keep this extra weight.
I have so many good reasons to keep this extra weight.
I don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I'm so used to it. It's all I know.
I'm so used to it. It's all I know.
Good. And taking another deep breath here. I honor these fears I have.
I honor these fears I have.
I honor this part of me.
I honor this part of me.
Thank you for keeping me safe all these years.
Thank you for keeping me safe all these years.
Thank you for wanting what's best for me.
Thank you for wanting what's best for me.
And thank you for trying to keep things status quo.
And thank you for trying to keep things status quo.
Good. Take a big deep breath. Great. So I just want to check in with everybody here. Marilyn, what came up for you after this round of tapping?
I think the only thing is that I'm not sure I was aware of how concerned I was about my husband Bruce's reaction if I did get, down to my fighting weight. And that really kind of bubbled up to, I think that was more significant than I had begun, giving it credit for.
Right. Okay, good. So your work, and we'll do another round of tapping, but the way that I would go about working with that is imagine. So you always want to make whatever fear you have a reality and see what your reaction is. So you want to exaggerate your fear. So in this case, what you would do is you would put on your hottest, sexiest outfit. You would be strutting your stuff right in front of Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine that interaction. Imagine what Bruce is feeling and notice the anxiety that brings up for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what we always want to do with tapping is we want to get to the core, to the root of what's going on. And so the way to do that is to imagine the situation that we're afraid of as it's happening. So whatever the fear is, so if it's Bruce, being jealous, feeling insecure, whatever it is, make that a reality in your mind and then tap down the anxiety.
Okay.
Okay. So that will be your next thing to focus on in this next round. Let's see, Michelle, how was that for you?
Well, it was interesting. I'm unmuted, right? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I became so profoundly exhausted while tapping. I was almost dozing off. And it just, the effort that I seem to equate with doing this is just overwhelming. And it's almost like I equate having lost the weight. I'm anticipating, and you're told, oh, you'll just feel so energetic and wonderful. But the payoff for that is having more to do, because I'll have more time that I'm energized.
Okay, good. So same kind of situation. So imagine yourself in that situation. Imagine yourself at your goal weight and having all of these other things to do. You know, all these people are calling you and asking you to do all of these things, and you're just feeling so overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. So make the fear a reality. Notice the anxiety, and then tap through the anxiety. Because, you know, really consciously, I mean, I'm sure there's a part of you consciously that knows that just because you lose the weight doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to have a million more things on your to-do list. And that may be true, that may not be true. But, you know, what you want to do is you want to, if that's a belief or if that's a fear, make the fear a reality in your mind. Okay. Tony, what came up for you?
Well, a few things. One was that the image that I had of those papers and numbers that were in the circle started disintegrating, and it was like I couldn't keep them together. And the papers started blowing away and just kind of falling apart. And then on a kind of a different level, I imagined when you said, you know, that person, whoever that person is, and I imagined being with my brother, who would be one of the critics, and I just started thinking I can take care of myself in this, that it doesn't, you know, what I do and how I feel about myself doesn't depend on him. And then I had kind of a flash of the clothing that I'd be wearing, which in this kind of thinking perfectionistically, that the clothing is always, you know, really nicely tailored stuff that I probably really wouldn't feel too comfortable wearing. And it just immediately shifted to wearing a T-shirt, and that was seen over a thin frame. And so it was just, you know, relaxed and comfortable with who that thin person is.
Great, Tony. Good work. Yeah, you know, you see how we all have these preconceived notions or ideas about what it's going to be like once we achieve our goal weight. And a lot of times it's just a bunch of crap, or it's just a bunch of made-up stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, why is it that you have to feel uncomfortable and wear these tailored suits just because you're thin?
Yeah.
You don't. You know, you can wear whatever the heck you want when you're thin. And thin people do that all the time. There's, you know, thin people that wear all sorts of different clothes. So great. Good work. So let's, and I'm glad that you brought up the tapping circle. So everybody, if you are on the call, or if you're listening to this later and you did the circle exercise, go back and check your numbers now and those beliefs that you put in the circle and renumber them. So read the belief out loud. Notice how true it is. Give it a new number, and then put that in the new circle. And intend for this next round of tapping to lower the numbers or to eliminate those in that circle. So everybody tuning back into whatever is left. Michelle and Marilyn, I gave you sort of instructions for what to do for this next round of tapping. Marilyn, will you be my echo again?
Sure.
Okay, good. So just tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I have these really good reasons to keep the weight. Part of me still doesn't want to let them go. They've kept me safe for so long. There's so many unknowns. I'm not sure what will happen if I lose this weight. I'm still afraid someone might get upset.
I'm still afraid someone might get upset.
I'm still afraid life might change.
I'm still afraid life might change.
I'm still afraid of making someone jealous.
I'm still afraid of making someone jealous.
What if something bad happens?
What if something bad happens?
It's just not safe to let go of this weight.
Just not safe to let go of this weight.
Even though there's another part of me that really wants to be lean and healthy.
Even though there's another part of me that really wants to be lean and healthy.
It still just doesn't feel safe.
It still just doesn't feel safe.
I've got a lot of reasons to keep this weight.
I've got a lot of reasons to keep this weight.
But I love and accept all of me.
But I love and accept all of me.
And I'm finding new ways to keep myself safe.
And I'm finding new ways to keep myself safe.
Good. So tuning back into whatever's left, tapping through the points. I've got really good reasons to keep this weight.
I've got really good reasons to keep this weight.
I still don't want to let it go.
I still don't want to let it go.
I'm afraid of what might happen.
I'm afraid of what might happen.
I don't know what it will be like to reach my goal weight.
I don't know what it'll be like to reach my goal weight.
So many things will change.
So many things have changed.
What if something bad happens?
What if something bad happens?
What if I hurt other people?
What if I hurt other people?
I just don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I just don't know who I'll be without this weight.
I'm so used to it, it's all I know.
I'm so used to it, it's all I know.
I'm afraid of what might happen.
I'm afraid of what might happen.
What if other people treat me differently?
What if other people treat me differently?
What if I make Bruce uncomfortable?
What if I make Bruce uncomfortable?
It's not safe for Bruce if I lose this weight.
It's not safe for Bruce if I lose this weight.
Everything will change.
Everything will change.
I just know something bad will happen.
I just know something bad will happen.
It's not safe to let go of this problem.
It's not safe to let go of this problem.
I've got really good reasons to keep this weight.
I've got really good reasons to keep this weight.
I still don't want to let it go.
I still don't want to let it go.
I just don't know who I'll be.
I just don't know who I'll be.
I'm not going to let the weight go.
I'm not going to let the weight go.
It's like an old friend.
It's like an old friend.
It's kept me safe for so long.
It's kept me safe for so long.
I'm really reluctant to let it go now.
I'm really reluctant to let it go now.
I have so many good reasons to keep this weight.
I have so many good reasons to keep this weight.
I honor these fears I have.
I honor these fears I have.
I honor this part of me.
I honor this part of me.
Thank you for keeping me safe all these years.
Thank you for keeping me safe all these years.
Thank you for wanting what's best.
Thank you for wanting what's best.
Thank you for trying to keep me safe.
Thank you for trying to keep me safe.
I release you from your duties.
I release you from your duties.
You've done a great job.
You've done a great job.
And now I'm ready and willing to change.
And now I'm ready and willing to change.
Good. Take a big deep breath. Good. Continuing to tap through the points. It's safe to let go of these good reasons.
It's safe to let go of these big reasons.
I'm learning new ways to keep myself safe.
I'm learning new ways to keep myself safe.
I honor you for working so hard at holding me back.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I honor you for working so hard at holding me back.
I honor you for working so hard at holding me back.
Here, we're talking to that part of us that's been holding us back for so long.
Right.
You've had really good reasons.
You've had really good reasons.
But now it's time to let those go.
But now it's time to let those go.
I forgive you for holding me back.
I forgive you for holding me back.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to step into my power.
I'm ready to love and accept all of me.
I'm ready to love and accept all of me.
I value myself and my true nature.
I value myself and my true nature.
I honor my process.
I honor my process.
I am peaceful with myself.
I am peaceful with myself.
It feels good to accept all of me.
It feels good to accept all of me.
It is safe to be lean and fit.
It is safe to be lean and fit.
It's safe to feel good about myself.
It's safe to feel good about myself.
Good. I'm allowing my success.
I'm allowing my success.
I honor my body for working so hard.
I honor my body for working so hard.
I'm grateful for my strength and energy.
I'm grateful for my strength and energy.
I'm grateful for all the blessings in my life.
I'm grateful for all the blessings in my life.
It feels good to allow my success.
It feels good to allow my success.
And it feels good to let my true nature shine.
It feels good to let my true nature shine.
Great. Big deep breath. I heard some yawning there. We all know that yawning means results. So good. That means the brains are changing. How was that for you, Marilyn?
Good. It was really good. The flash that I had to, some of the people in my circle who would be jealous is like, well, I'm the one getting my arse out of bed at 5 o'clock so I can run, and I'm, eating salads instead of French fries and stuff. I deserve to be thin. It's not, it's
good.
Like it's not given to me.
Good for you. That's great. Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing what can happen after just doing a couple rounds of tapping on this. Good work, Marilyn. Michelle, what came up for you?
A few yawns and the notion that, maybe it doesn't have to be so hard. I can't say that there was any epiphanies or anything like that.
Yeah, right. Good. So you're lowering your overall stress about all the possible things that might change once you achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Great. Good. Tony, how was that for you?
Well, I really thought when you came to that part about hurting others, what popped up for me was I'm afraid I'm going to become critical of others. That I'm thin and you're not, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you're going to develop some sort of judgment or...
Yeah, right, judgmentalism.
Okay, great. So all you do when things like this come up, all you do is just the same thing. So put that into a circle and just do another round of tapping on that, and then you can use your specific beliefs and words specific for what comes up for you when you do the round of tapping. So I'm afraid of the people. I'll be judgmental. I'm afraid, that I'll, want perfection from everybody else as well, or something like that.
Yeah.
Good.
That felt kind of resolved as we went through it, and then when you wrote, when you spoke the word "step into my power," I kind of lit up, and it's like that's what all this is for me. That I think that's what all this is talking about is stepping into my power and feeling comfortable with that.
Absolutely, that's exactly what this is. It's just about living your true nature and stepping into your power, and allowing these fears and these beliefs and these negative thoughts and behaviors to not play such an important role.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Great. Well, you guys did such a great job. Thank you so much for being here, for participating on the call. I have a little section at the end of the worksheet about visualizing your success and dreaming into being. And I just want to say a couple of words about that, which is those of you who still need to do some work around sabotage and that visualization of achieving your success. If there's any negative feelings that come up when you imagine achieving your success and all the people around you that are in that circle, tap away those feelings of anxiety before you do the daily visualizations. We don't want to give you daily stress. So just a little word of advice there. But then, every morning when you wake up, just sort of visualize, once all that stress is gone, really you can step into your power by imagining what your life will be like once you achieve your goals. Part of the reason that we do this, and part of the reason that we can have fears about achieving success, is because life will be different. There are unknowns when you change something so dramatic as your weight. And what the brain is conditioned to do is to keep everything safe and normal and the same, so that we can have the most pleasurable, easy experience. And so what visualizing your success does is it exposes your brain and your neural pathways to the success that you are looking forward to achieving. So it starts to become comfortable with it. There's a really great example, a story that I heard about a man and a wife who had a son who was just about ready to go to kindergarten. And about 2 weeks before the class started, mom and dad would take him to the class, and they would take him to the school, and they would have him sort of look in the window, and they would tell him, hey, you know what, in a couple of weeks, you're going to come here, and you're going to go to school, and you're going to meet lots of other kids, and you're going to do all these really fun things, and this is something that I used to do. And they talked him through it. They prepared him for it. And 2 weeks later, when the first day of school came, they showed up. He walks right up to the door and sort of waves goodbye to his mom and dad, and is totally happy and walks in the door with no problems. Where, on the other hand, another child who, is starting kindergarten the same day, shows up. He hasn't been conditioned. His parents haven't been talking to him about it. He hasn't been prepared for this new change. And what's happening? He's kicking and screaming and crying and freaking out because it's such a dramatic change that he's not used to, that he wasn't prepared for. So the daily visualizations is really, really, really important, because you start to condition your brain for what it is that you want. And you let it know, hey, it's okay. It's safe that we're changing gears here. So really, really important thing to do. And I would do it, I use this for any goal that I want to achieve, but definitely for weight, visualizing every day is super important and very effective. So I look forward to your success and your feedback about this week. So feel free to shoot me an email and keep me posted if you have any questions. I'm always here to answer, and good luck with everything. Tap away, and I will talk to you next week.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
This concludes Section 3. If you want additional help with breaking the chains of self-sabotage, visit BrittanyWatkins.com.